girl. And it's funny that we had that fight, and I'm getting in my head about those distant headlines. Love hits in a way you can't explain it. That's the truth, ain't it?
What's good, guys? Your boy Money. We back at it with another video. So today we're going to check out Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. Who is the greatest legend? Magic, Larry Bird, greatest NBA rivalry in NBA history. When you think of Magic Johnson, you think of Larry Bird. When you think of Larry Bird, you think of Magic Johnson. These guys were going at it back in the day in the 80s. They were great, man. In my opinion, when it comes to the greatest legend, if you're talking about accolades, everything, accolades, championships, MVP, all that, I would say Magic Johnson. As a player, in my opinion, I think Larry Bird was better than Magic. That's just my opinion. If you break it down, like, as a player, let's go look at passing. Magic, of course, he number one passing. Bird, he's a good passer too, but he's not up there when it comes to passing with Magic, but he's still a good passer. Bird. Defending, Bird was a little bit better defender than Magic. Magic, in my opinion, with defense, I think there's times like Magic played a little bit of defense, but I feel like Bird played better defense. So I got Bird as a better defender than Magic. Shooting, come on, it's Bird. You know, Bird won the 3-point contest. Great shooter. Magic, I mean, of course, Magic can shoot, but he's not shooting like Bird. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Magic, he wasn't a great shooter. He was a okay, good shooter, but like he wasn't a great like Bird. So I got Bird as a player than Magic. But overall, like if you're talking about accolades, like actual NBA 5-on-5, like Magic. So because Magic got 5 championships, Bird got 3 championships. MVPs, I think they tied with MVPs. I think it's both of them at 3. But yeah, so that's my opinion as a as who I think is better as a player. Bird, championships, Magic. So we're gonna listen to Johnny Arnett, see who he thinks is a greater legend, Magic or Bird. But before we dive on into the video, make sure I give this video a thumbs up too. Let me know down in the comments what other videos you want me to check out too, and subscribe to your boy, man. Leave a like, subscribe for me, click on that subscribe button, cause come on, y'all want to see more basketball videos, you gotta turn on notifications, you gotta sub to your boy, so sub, feel me? So let's MJ fade away.
In this Versus series, we take a look at 2 greats of basketball history, as we analyze their skills, achievements, and career totals, ending with a conclusion on who is the greater basketball player overall. Today, our matchup is the man known for his magic on the court, Earvin Johnson, versus Larry Legend, Larry Bird.
Larry
Both
Bird
legends spent the entirety of their career with one of the most prestigious franchises of NBA history. Magic played 13 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers, and Bird played 13 seasons with the Boston Celtics.
They dropped Dominique. That was Dominique.
6'9" point guard who weighed around 215 pounds. Larry was a 6'9" small forward / power forward who weighed around 220 pounds. 2 men who were each accredited with saving the NBA in the 1980s.
Yep.
2 men who each have an argument of being the greatest player of their era. We'll compare these 2 greats with 5 major categories, which
and he had a great college game too. If y'all never checked it out, go check it out. Their college championship game, I watched the whole video. It was like 2 hours and a half or something like that, but it was a good game.
Categories depending on positions and play styles. In this video, for these 2 icons of basketball, the categories are scoring, facilitating, rebounding, defense, and accolades.
And he's a
First
better
off,
rebounder than
scoring.
Bird, in my
Magic
opinion.
Johnson was a much better scorer than people typically give him credit for, especially when you consider how he's one out of only 2 players to average over 10 assists per game for his career. Despite the fact that his number one priority was usually to get his teammates going,
Yeah.
he still managed to
Yeah, he can
consistently
score,
get
that's why I'm,
his,
like-
as he averaged 19.5 points per
He's a better, like, he's Magic is score, but mostly he like to facilitate. But I feel like the scoring wise, I feel like Bird scoring, shooting, I feel like Bird beats Magic. So
game over the course of his
But he still
career.
can score, though,
He was a
Magic.
great finisher around the rim, and he managed
He
to
can
get
score,
himself
but,
more
you know,
clean
it's-
looks than most,
but, yeah.
since the defense always had to be on their heels because of his ability to find the open man. This led him to be extremely efficient throughout his career, as he shot 52% from the field over his 13 seasons, which is almost unheard of by point guard standards. He also was a tremendous free throw shooter, hitting 84.8% of his attempts over his career, and even led the league in overall free throw percentage in 1989. Now Bird, on the other hand, is immediately known for his scoring. He was also a 6'9" small forward with a high release point on his jumper, so contesting his
Yeah,
shots
that's
was
60
quite
point game,
difficult.
crazy.
With his fantastic footwork, his underrated handles, his finesse around the basket, and lethal perimeter shooting, he averaged 24.3 points over the course of his career. He never led the league in scoring, but unlike Magic, he was right around the top of the list on several occasions. As far as perimeter scorers go, Bird has an argument for being the most efficient scorer in NBA history. He led the league in free throw percentage 4 times, and he also had 2 50-40-90 seasons in his career, which is the second most in NBA history. The only player with more 50-40-90 seasons was the Hall of Famer Steve Nash, but Nash was never close to being a near 30 points per game scorer like Larry was several seasons. So the fact that Bird was able to maintain that efficiency as a perimeter scorer
one
at
leg
such a
with-
high volume of shots is pretty much unprecedented. Magic gets some bonus points for being a capable and efficient scorer, even while being an all-time leader in assists. But even with
Yeah, that's
that being
crazy.
said, it's still not enough to close the gap between him and the all-around-the-court threat that
That's
is
crazy.
Larry Bird. Scoring goes to Larry Bird. Second up is facilitating.
Scoring. It's
Now,
a
I
Bird.
alluded to this in the previous topic, but
That's
Magic
just
is
me, yeah.
arguably
I agree.
and
Scoring,
probably
Bird.
considered by most as the greatest passer of all time. He has the highest assists per game average in NBA history at 11.2, and he led the league in assists 4 times.
Yeah,
It's
when it
easy
comes to
to
passing,
simply look at the
Magic,
numbers
come
and say
on now.
that Magic was the
His
best
name is
passer
Magic
on
for a
his team.
reason. Like, they
But
call him
he was
Magic
so
for a
much
reason.
more than just that. Magic was the engine that drove the Showtime Lakers' high-octane offense. Magic was obsessed with pushing the tempo nearly every time the Lakers gained possession, and it resulted in many easy buckets for his slashing teammates. His ability to make
That's
smart split-second
crazy, bro.
decisions
You know how hard that is? He's looking this way and pass it the other way. Bro, that's just
is
crazy.
unmatched, and his court vision would have you swearing that he has eyes in the
His-
back of his head with the
yeah.
passes he was
His court
consistently
vision's
making.
unreal.
On top of all of that, he was a
got
6'9"
eyes
point guard, so interfering
back
with
of
some
his
of his
head, bro.
higher passes was nearly impossible for many of his smaller defenders. Now, Bird was a much better distributor than most people realize. He started his career as a power forward, and if he had remained in that position, then he would probably be known today as the greatest passing power forward of all time. He shared a similar
wait a
ability
minute.
to Magic in
He's
terms
supposed
of
to be
their
a-
incredible court vision.
He was
and he's
originally
been
a
praised by
power
Magic
forward?
on numerous occasions for that exact skill. He averaged 6.3 assists
I thought. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was a powerful before. And then I heard too, Magic was a small forward before he was a point guard. So
assists on his career, averaging as
That's
high
crazy.
as 7.6 in 1987. He was usually not among the assist leaders of the league, but he was consistently among the leaders at his position. The same way Magic got bonus points in the scoring category, Bird also gets bonus points in the facilitating category, as it was remarkable that Bird assisted
Yeah,
his
he could-
teammates
he
as
could pass
often
the
as he
ball.
did, when you consider the fact that Bird chose to shoot the ball nearly 50% more often than Magic Johnson did. Still, unless you're a gold medalist in mental gymnastics, facilitating clearly has to go to Magic, as his incredible ability to make his
Definitely,
teammates
yeah,
better
Magic
is simply one of a
facilitating.
kind.
I agree.
Third up is rebounding. Now this one can be a little bit tricky since I'm making the case for different
Rebounding,
positions.
I got Bird.
One is typically more of a perimeter player, while the other plays more in the interior, and naturally, the advantage goes to the interior player where most rebounds are available, especially in an era like the 80s where less perimeter shots are taken. All things considered, Magic was a pretty good rebounder, especially by point guard standards. He successfully used his superior height and frame to his advantage over smaller guards, and he was often hungry to get the ball as quickly as possible so he could then push the fast break on offense. He averaged 7.2 rebounds over the course of his career, getting as high as 9.6 in 1982. Now Larry Bird averaged 10 rebounds per game over his career, getting as high as 11 in 1983. One thing no one ever questioned about Bird back then was his hustle and heart.
Oh
it was
my
common
gosh.
for him to play the game
Ran
with
to
a
the
physical
teammate.
and tenacious approach, and doing so continuously with 100% effort.
Damn.
These are qualities that naturally benefit a player's ability to secure the boards. This has resulted in Bird having the 50th highest rebounds per game average in NBA history. Most of the players on that list are either primarily power forwards or centers though, which Larry was not. He played mostly as a small forward. Among primary small forwards, Larry has the third greatest rebounds per game average in NBA history. When you consider the positions, this one is extremely close. But for me, the slight edge goes to Larry Bird. Not just because of his higher numbers, but it's about how he played to get those numbers, as Bird was known for a more grit and grind type approach, which is a great quality when you're banging for the boards in the 80s. Fourth on the list is defense. Magic was never considered as an elite defender, as he didn't make any all-defense teams in his career, but he was certainly a capable one. His sheer size made it somewhat difficult for opposing guards to score over him or to get into a favorable position with physicality. Magic had a high top speed that he always used on
That's
offense,
scary.
but his lateral movement wasn't the quickest on defense,
Somebody coming at
which made it
6'9",
sometimes
running like
difficult
that,
for him to stay in
and vision.
front of the quicker, smaller guards. His hands were decently quick, and he was pretty good at jumping the passing lanes, which resulted in him leading the league in steals twice, including the 1981 season where he averaged an incredibly strong 3.4 steals per game. He also averaged 1.9 steals over the course of his career, although he didn't have a strong vertical leap and was never a good shot blocker, as he only averaged 0.4 blocks over his career and never averaged at least one per game in a season, which is pretty surprising considering his height and length advantage over almost every opposing guard. Larry was known to be slow, and he wasn't the most quick or athletically gifted player, but I do think he's somewhat of an underrated defender compared to how he's perceived by the general public. The Boston Celtics were a consistently elite defensive team, and Bird's high basketball IQ was a significant help in that area. Bird made 3 all-defense teams and averaged 1.7 steals and 0.8 blocks over his 13 seasons. Bird could be a bit of a pest on defense, as his effort and tenacious attitude was never lacking. Due to his slower and less athletic frame, it wasn't uncommon for him to need help defensively if he was guarding some of the athletic and talented wings in the league, like Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins for example. With that being said, Bird was good at communicating with his teammates, trapping offensive players and forcing turnovers as a result. This one is somewhat close, but at the end of the day, Bird has the slightly better individual defensive numbers, he's the more accomplished defensive player, and he was the team leader of the consistently better defensive team throughout the decade. Defense goes to Larry Bird. Last on the list
Bird.
of categories is accolades.
I said
Both
Bird.
of these legends had a ton of them. Magic Johnson won 5 NBA
Accolades, like I
championships,
said, I
3
said
Finals
Magic.
MVPs, and he won 3 league MVPs. He made 12 All-Star teams and 10 All-NBA
Okay,
teams.
3 league
He was a
MVPs,
4-time
okay.
assist champion and a 2-time
I said,
steals
okay.
champion. In his
I wanted to
13
make sure.
seasons, he averaged 19.5 points, 7.2 rebounds, 11.2 assists, 1.9 steals, and 0.4 blocks on 61 true shooting percentage. Larry Bird won 3 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and 3 league MVPs. He made 12 All-Star teams, 10 All-NBA teams, and 3 All-Defense teams. He was also the 1980 Rookie of the Year, and was a 2-time 50-40-90 player. In his 13 seasons, he averaged 24.3 points, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 1.7 steals, and 0.8 blocks on 56.4 true shooting percentage. Based on this list, I think Magic has the slight advantage on accolades. Now, as far as how these
Yeah.
players compare as a whole, as usual, it's extremely close. And the only reason I'm picking between these two is because I have to for the sake of the series. But for myself personally, Larry Bird is the more complete player and ranks higher on my all-time list. I think most of the time, people rank
That's just-
Magic
I said the
slightly
same thing,
higher
that's my
because of his
opinion.
edge in championships over Bird. But you have to also consider that basketball is a team sport, and although
Right.
both legends were blessed with a tremendous supporting cast, also keep in mind that the East was definitely the stronger conference throughout the 80s, which meant it was even more difficult for the Celtics to get to the NBA Finals in the first place. Although I do think Bird is the slightly better and more complete individual player, I do think there is a strong argument for Magic. But I think that argument goes beyond the stat sheet, and leans more into the narrative that no one has ever made their teammates better than Magic Johnson did. Which is probably true, and if that's enough for him to be your choice, then I respect that. Let me know in the comments section who's higher on your list, Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, so he basically said what I said. Accolades, everything, Magic. Again, NBA is a team sports, but I feel like as a player, Larry Bird, he's like he said, he's the more complete player, Larry Bird, than Magic. But accolades, Magic Johnson. Yeah, this was a good video. I like how he broke down, like how I did it when it comes to like the actual play itself, like the shooting, like the scoring, passing, defending, and then he did accolades. So yeah, it's a team sport. Down in the comments, what are your thoughts on this video right here? Who do you think is the greatest? Who's the great legend? Who do you think is better? Magic or Larry Bird? And let me know down in the comments, why do you think that player is better than the other player? So yeah, let me know down in the comments, and appreciate y'all for this video. Give this video a thumbs up too. Let me know down in the comments what y'all want to see next. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the boy. Have a good day, stay safe, y'all. See y'all next video.